Good morning, everyone. My name is Melanie, and today I'll be presenting on the Newberry Library's copy of Athanasius Kircher's Mussorgia Universalis, Volume 1. Athanasius Kircher was a German polymath and Jesuit priest, active in Rome at the Collegio Romano during the mid-17th century. Kircher wrote this massive book that you can see here. Entitled Mussorgia Universalis, this book, published in 1650, is the first of 2 volumes. In this work, Kircher presents an encyclopedic treatment of music and acoustics that is deeply influenced by his belief in the orderly and harmonious organization of the universe. According to Kircher, God instilled music as a natural property of the world during creation, and he sought to prove this fact by approaching music from an interdisciplinary perspective in this text. Alongside discussions of composition techniques, acoustics, instrument design, and building, Kircher also studied music through the lens of anatomy, astronomy, mathematics, philology, history, and even included discussions of miraculous phenomena, such as tarantism and fantastical mechanical devices for creating music. This book was one of the most influential music theory treatises of the 17th century, and scholars continue to study it well into the 18th century. Although we classify Kircher's work as music theory, the diverse subjects that he treats, some of which we can see here in these wonderful illustrations, are a far cry from the chords and scales included in today's typical music theory textbooks. Today, we'll examine some of these wonderful images, which can give us insight into a uniquely 17th century perspective on the significance of music. We can get a better view of Kircher's musical universe by taking a look at the book's elaborate engraved frontispiece designed by Paul Shore. I'll point out a few areas of particular interest. Starting at the very top of the frontispiece, we have this triangle with the eye, which symbolizes the Holy Trinity. And it illuminates the entire frontispiece, thus emphasizing God's perfect control of creation. The eye's light first shines down upon 9 choirs of angels who sing a canon for 36 voices by composer Romano Micheli, which is notated in the banner held by the 2 angels at the bottom of this image. In the center of the frontispiece, music personified sits upon the earth, which is encircled by the zodiac. She holds the lyra of Apollo and the flute of Marcia in her hands. And lastly, the light shines upon the physical world. Satyrs and maenads dance together in the background, and a shepherd's voice echoes from the mountains. You can see that right here in the background of this image. We also have on the left-hand side the ancient Greek philosopher Pythagoras. Sitting upon several musical instruments, he points to his famous theorem in his right hand and points to the working blacksmiths in his left hand. Legend has it that Pythagoras discovered the mathematical basis of musical harmony after listening to the sounds produced by blacksmiths hammering on anvils. And on the right side of this image, we can see one of the muses sitting surrounded again by musical instruments. Overall, this frontispiece exemplifies Kircher's vision of God's harmoniously and hierarchically constructed universe, from the divine realm to the celestial realm, and finally to the earthly realm. One of the most curious images included in Kircher's Mussorgia depicts this funny-looking fuzzy fellow, a singing sloth. Kircher reported that he heard about this remarkable animal from the Jesuit missionary Johannes Torres, who claimed to have heard the animal sing in South America. The story of the singing sloth had actually been circulated since at least 1526, but Kircher was the first to notate the sloth song. Kircher's sloth sings a hexachord, or a scale made up of 6 notes, both ascending and descending on the syllable ha. Kircher thus names the sloth the ha-ut. We would be surprised to find a singing sloth, or notations of bird song for that matter, in a music theory textbook today. So why did Kircher include such fanciful images? Perhaps these depictions of the songs of animals suggest that human music and the sound had its origins in animal song. Another reason might be this. For Kircher, the sloth was another example of the supremely orderly nature of God's creations. If animals, even those on faraway continents, can also sing scales so familiar to Kircher, this fact might indicate that they too are part of this perfectly ordered world, and thus also naturally delighted by universal harmonies, and they express their delight in these harmonies through song. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you can visit Father Kircher's singing sloth at the Newberry Library soon.